who played for Rebecca Friedman. I don't know if you heard of them, but they came from the city of Dayton, and Rebecca wanted us to play two pianos. So that's where I learned a lot of ensemble playing, four hands. But we had two pianos. She played on one and I played on another. And that's how I got interested in more than just two hands at the piano, because I thought it was more symphonic. You know, it covers more. Like when Peggy and I play, we're all over the keyboard.
What age were you when you started doing that?
When we started the two piano, well, I was already in junior high school, probably around 15. Mm-hmm. And I had to quit school for a while. I was going to San Jacinto High School. My father became ill, and he passed away very young. So, but I was determined I would not let my music go. And so I kept studying. I'd get in the truck and drive over myself. I learned to drive a car when I was about 8 or 10 years old. We had the first Ford trucks that came out. We got one. No, it wasn't a truck. It was a first automobile they had, and I would drive myself everywhere. And that's how I learned to study with her, and we did the two piano work. So
did you ever stop playing
never
piano?
stopped.
Never? Have you ever? So you?
Well, I didn't practice all the years that we had our family. You know, we have the 4 children, and I had to work, so I could not. So I didn't play for several years. I guess it was about 4 or 5 years that I couldn't play because I had to work. And I had to work, and we lived off of one paycheck then. But we made it.
And then you just picked it up again.
And I just picked, and it came back naturally. It just came back, and that's why I keep telling people who study when they're young, don't give it up, you know. And so that's how it happened.
So
when I first started. And I really, I tell you, I keep telling my family, music has sustained me all through life. For whatever obstacles, it calms me down, and well, they say it dusts the soul. I always say that. So I've been dusted internally.
any family members play piano?
Well, my 3 grandsons, Peggy knows Dan, and all 3 of them study piano because I bought them a piano and said, they've got to learn to play. And he told them, no sports, no piano, no sports. If you don't study piano, you get no sports. So they said, well, we want the sports. He said, well, then you have to take the piano. And they're doing well, too. They're all doing well, and doing well in school, doing well. That's what music does. It helps your concentration level. It really does. So I advise all parents to give the children a chance for music, and it works. It works for me. It works for Peggy too. So that's the story.
Is there any particular composers that you like more than others?
Well, I do like Brahms very much, and probably Mozart. You know, we all like, but I also like Brahms and Beethoven. All of those that they have written such prolific music, and they're all beautiful, and so they're the ones that we usually end up playing. Brahms' Hungarian dances, and it's just he wrote such beautiful music. So it's hard to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that seems pretty good. Thank you very much, Rosie.
you're so welcome.
That's
Peggy,
great.
You wanna?
We're gonna do.
Ready?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are we doing, Rose?
This is Brahms.
See that light? It went out again. They
What?
put a new bulb in and it went out.
It went out again.
And I'll get
Here,
it.
wait.
I'll get it.
Here, let me get out first.
This is not much light, is
Oh,
it?
no, but this one here is too
Okay.
glary.
Okay.
It's much,
Is that too much for you?
We could take the top off, maybe.
Is that too much? I can cut it off.
Can you take the top off?
it's,
Too
no, I
much?
think I can manage.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it, but leave
Okay.
this one.
Maybe Ethan can try to take the top off. It might make the glare less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. something.
Yeah, good, okay, you
Let's see,
did it.
what haven't we played?
I'll play another, whatever you please, whatever.
Let's see.
They are very good.
Anitra's
Where's the
dance?
black book? We can
Anitra's
play
dance is lovely. I like that one.
Yeah, the black book.
Let's play
And,
Baber.
Oh, babe, well, we can play Baber.
and
Let's see
of
what.
course we put gossip on occasion. And
Which one?
Page 9, I think, is that short one.
Oh, yeah.
Mom, look.
Oh, isn't that nice?
It came
The light
on?
went
Yeah, it takes time.
I guess so, right.
Music.
Two. There's one more, Hungary. Let's do that one.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty one. Want to do Spanish dance? I can't find Hungary.
Is it maybe in the black book? Could it be in the black book?
She has, there.
All right, we'll do this one. This is a pretty one.
Yes, that's right.
Spanish dance.
Okay. Oh, excuse me, honey.
They don't play for the Alzheimer's, they play for the regular residents. Restricted Alzheimer's.
Comfortable for you?
Oh, yeah, we could, yeah, sure.
I get 2 measures there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Start
Can
off.
someone get the, Mom, get the, okay, they got it.
One, one.
ask Mom a few questions.
Okay, Mom. You can go.
Oh, you have, okay. So, Mom, when did you first start playing piano?
Well, I guess when I was about 7 or 8 in Goose Creek, Texas. And because there was not much to do in Goose Creek, Texas, I had lots of time to practice.
Who was your first teacher?
Mrs. Wheeler lived across the street from us. And she was pretty terrible. But she had a rumble seat car. And I was dying to ride in that rumble seat car. She never once asked any of us kids, 5 of us, to take a ride in that car. And so I really, even when I got married, we bought a rumble seat car. Do you remember that Ford? 1926 Ford had a rumble seat.
So you finally got your rumble seat.
Right.
And so after you took lessons from her, who did you take lessons
Then I
from?
took lessons from somebody else, and I had to ride my bicycle and go a little further distance. And one time I was riding my bicycle, and this dog came up to me, I guess the wheels going around. He went up to me and bit me on the leg. And I just went to my daddy's store and showed him what happened. He was furious.
So did you make your lesson?
I don't remember, but I remember that.
You remember being bitten.
Anyhow, then there was a young lady that was Margie Boyer, who played beautifully. She had perfect pitch, and she played by ear, but she also took lessons from Ruth Burr in Houston. But she taught me, and then she eventually moved to our garage apartment on West Piers, and so she taught me lessons, and then she finally said, Peggy, I've taken you as far as I can go with you. Now you need to go to Houston to learn with Mrs. Burr, Miss Burr. So my mother took me into Houston every week and waited for my lesson to be finished, and then we went home. Maybe did a little bit of shopping at the...
How long did it take to drive from Goose Creek to Houston?
Well, in those days, it probably about an hour and a half.
And so you used to tell stories about Ruth Burr as a piano teacher. What were some of those memories?
She was a wonderful teacher, but I never left a lesson without being in tears. She never said anything I did was good. As hard as I worked, I practiced 3 or 4 hours a day, very, very hard, and it wasn't to perfection. She never gave anybody any, maybe she gave somebody, but she never gave me any compliments. And so I kind of got disgusted, but I stayed with it for a long time. And I feel that she gave me a good technique and all the basic things that I needed to know.
How many years did you take lessons?
Oh, I guess probably about 6 or 8 years.
So you used to talk about she'd make you learn a piece backwards and forwards?
When we memorized, I had to memorize backwards. And by that I mean each measure. You take the last measure and memorize it. Then you take the measure before that and memorize it, and then go to the end. So by the time you've gone through the whole thing backwards, you know that piece by heart. So she was very thorough.
What other techniques did she have?
Well, I had to have my